You know that moment when you're with a woman and you feel like something is there? The conversation is flowing. She's smiling. She's laughing a little too hard at your jokes. And you're wondering, should I make a move? Maybe you're at a coffee shop and she's been sitting across from you for 2 hours, even though she finished her latte an hour ago. Or perhaps you're walking her to her car after dinner and every step feels like it's moving in slow motion because neither of you wants the night to end. Here's the truth. Most men miss the signs. They either move too soon and kill the vibe, or they wait too long and she assumes they're not interested. I've seen this play out thousands of times. Good guys, attractive, successful men who completely fumble golden opportunities because they couldn't read the psychological roadmap she was laying out right in front of them. But here's the good news. Women do give away subtle signals when they're hoping you'll take that step. And once you know these 7 hidden signs, you'll never be stuck in that should I, shouldn't I confusion again. These aren't the obvious ones like she touches your arm or she flirts. I'm talking about psychologically backed subconscious cues most guys never notice. But once you do, you'll realize she's practically begging for you to take action. The science behind this is fascinating. Women have evolved to communicate romantic interest in ways that protect them from social rejection while still signaling availability to the right man. It's like a secret language that's been hardwired into human behavior for thousands of years. Sign number 1, the proximity test. Let's start with one of the most primal signs, proximity. If she's deliberately closing the gap between you, leaning in, stepping closer, or even just subtly moving her chair nearer, it's rarely an accident. Psychologists call this spatial investment. When a woman feels comfortable and attracted, she subconsciously wants to be inside your personal bubble. This is her way of saying, without words, I feel safe with you, and I want you closer. Here's what most guys don't realize. The average person maintains about 18 inches of personal space with strangers and about 4 to 12 inches with people they're attracted to. When she breaks that 18-inch barrier without any practical reason, her brain is essentially overriding social norms because of attraction. But it gets deeper. She's also testing your reaction. Does her closeness make you nervous? Do you back away? Or do you welcome it and even mirror it back? Her subconscious is gathering data on your confidence and interest level. I remember coaching a client who told me about a woman at his gym who kept accidentally ending up on the treadmill next to him, even when there were dozens of empty machines. He thought it was coincidence. It wasn't. She was literally running toward him every chance she got. But be careful. Just because she's standing close doesn't always mean she's into you. There's one extra cue you need to confirm its attraction, not just comfort. We'll get to that in sign number 4. Sign number 2, the delayed goodbye. Ever notice when you're saying goodbye and she lingers? She could have walked away, but she's still standing there, playing with her keys, tucking her hair behind her ear, or adding one more thing to the conversation. This is the psychological equivalent of holding the door open. She's buying time, your time, because deep down, she wants the moment to last longer. Think about it logically. If someone wants to leave, they leave. When she creates these micro delays, oh wait, I forgot to tell you. Or, actually, one more question. She's subconsciously extending the interaction because ending it feels wrong to her. The psychology here is rooted in something called approach avoidance conflict. Part of her wants to stay in your presence, but social conditioning tells her she should probably go. The delayed goodbye is her compromise. She's not walking away, but she's also not being too forward. Here's a real-world example. You walk her to her car, and instead of immediately getting in, she leans against the door and starts a whole new conversation topic. Or you're saying goodbye after a group event, and while everyone else filters out normally, she finds reasons to hang around until it's just you two. Here's the dark psychology twist. The longer she delays leaving, the more she's mentally allowing you space to take the next step. That's when you need to read her energy and act decisively. She's created the perfect window of opportunity, and she's hoping you'll recognize it. Sign number 3, the investment of attention. In a world where attention is currency, the biggest giveaway is how much of it she's spending on you. If she's actively listening, asking follow-up questions, and recalling small details you've mentioned before, she's not just being polite, she's mentally investing in you. But let's break this down further. In our hyper-connected world, genuine attention is incredibly rare. Most people are half listening while mentally crafting their next Instagram post or checking their phones. When a woman gives you her full, undivided attention, when she puts her phone face down, maintains eye contact, and engages deeply with what you're saying, that's significant. Science backs this up. When a woman is attracted, her brain releases dopamine during interactions, making her more engaged and focused on you. That's why she remembers your random story from 3 weeks ago, because you've triggered emotional relevance in her mind. Here's what this looks like in practice. She remembers that you mentioned your sister is a nurse. She asks about your job promotion that you briefly mentioned in passing. She brings up that book you recommended, and not only has she bought it, but she's already 3 chapters in. This level of attention and recall isn't casual politeness. It's active investment. Her brain is categorizing information about you as important to remember because you've become emotionally significant to her. But here's where it gets interesting. Her body language during this attention will tell you exactly how much she wants you to make a move. Sign number 4, the open invitation posture. This is where we combine sign number 1 with body language. If she's facing you fully, torso, knees, and feet all pointing in your direction, she's subconsciously opening the gates. Add in uncrossed arms, tilting her head slightly, and maybe a relaxed smile. And you've got green lights all over. Body language experts call this fronting, and it's a deep primal cue of acceptance. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. When humans feel threatened or uncertain, they instinctively protect their vital organs by turning away or crossing their arms. When she faces you completely with open posture, she's signaling trust and receptiveness at the most fundamental level. But there's more to this. The angle of her body tells you about the intensity of her interest. If she's slightly angled toward you, that's positive but mild. If her entire body, from her feet to her face, is oriented towards you like you're a magnet, that's maximum engagement. Pay attention to her feet especially. Feet don't lie. People can control their facial expressions and even their hand gestures, but feet tend to point toward what or who they want to move toward. But here's the kicker. If she pairs this with leaning in and touching something of hers, like a necklace or glass, while maintaining eye contact, she's inviting you to break the touch barrier. She's essentially demonstrating that touch in this moment, in this space between you two, is welcome. Sign number 5, the strategic self-touch. Okay, this one is powerful, and often completely unconscious. If she's adjusting her hair, lightly touching her neck, or tracing her lips while talking to you, that's not just fidgeting. Those are highly sensitive erogenous zones, and touching them in your presence is a form of sexual displacement behavior. This behavior is rooted deep in evolutionary psychology. When we're attracted to someone, our nervous system becomes heightened, and we unconsciously touch ourselves in ways that draw attention to attractive features. It's like her body is highlighting itself for your benefit. The neck touch is particularly telling. The neck is one of the most vulnerable parts of the human body. When she exposes and touches it around you, she's demonstrating trust and unconsciously signaling sensuality. Hair adjustment is another big one. Running fingers through hair, twirling strands, or pushing hair behind her ear, especially when her hair doesn't actually need adjusting, these are classic preening behaviors that signal attraction. And lip touching? That's about as clear as it gets. When she traces her lips, touches her mouth, or even just applies lip balm while looking at you, her subconscious is drawing your attention to one of the most intimate parts of her body. In dark psychology terms, She's signaling arousal without outright stating it. Evolutionary psychology suggests these movements are primal cues of attraction, subtly drawing your gaze to intimate areas. But here's something almost no one talks about. If she pairs this with a certain kind of eye contact, it's practically her saying, "Please, just kiss me already." Sign number 6, the eye contact triangle. This is one of my favorites, the triangle gaze. Instead of just holding your eyes, she looks at one eye, then the other, then your lips, over and over. This eye pattern is incredibly intimate and is a subconscious check for sexual tension. It's her brain imagining the next step, without her saying a word. The science behind this is fascinating. Normal conversational eye contact involves looking at someone's eyes. But when attraction and sexual tension are present, the gaze naturally expands to include the lips, because subconsciously, she's wondering what it would feel like to kiss you. This isn't something women consciously decide to do. It's an automatic response that happens when the brain is processing someone as a potential romantic partner rather than just a friend or acquaintance. Here's how to spot it. You'll notice her eyes aren't just locked on yours. They'll dart down to your mouth, then back up, then down again. Sometimes it's quick, just a split-second glance. Other times it's more obvious and lingering. If you see this, she's not just thinking about the conversation. She's picturing what it would be like if you closed that distance. Her brain is literally rehearsing intimacy while you're talking. The psychology behind this is primal. It's the same gaze pattern that happens right before people kiss. She's unconsciously preparing for that possibility. Sign number 7, the subtle escalation test. This is the final, and often most telling, sign. She finds small, innocent excuses to increase physical contact, brushing something off your shirt, touching your arm when she laughs, or standing so close your shoulders almost touch. But here's what's really happening psychologically. She's conducting a series of micro-tests. Each touch is her way of saying, how do you respond to this level of intimacy? Think about it. Touching someone isn't necessary for communication. When she creates these opportunities for physical contact, she's deliberately crossing the touch barrier to gauge your reaction and escalate the interaction. The lint on your shirt move is classic. There's probably no lint, or if there is, it's not important enough to require her intervention. But it gives her a socially acceptable reason to touch you and get into your personal space. The arm touch during laughter is another big one. Laughter already creates intimacy and connection, and when she adds physical contact to that moment, she's amplifying the bond between you. Here's the psychology. She's testing to see if you respond. If you don't flinch, pull back, or act awkward, she takes it as a sign you're comfortable with physical closeness. And that's her silent way of saying, it's your move now. But if you lean into her touch, mirror it back, or find your own reasons to create contact, you're passing her test and encouraging her to continue escalating. The psychological blueprint. Now here's what ties all these signs together. They represent a psychological escalation ladder that women unconsciously climb when they're interested in a man. It starts with spatial and temporal investment, proximity and delayed goodbyes, moves to emotional investment, attention and engagement, then to physical signaling, posture and self-touch, then to intimate nonverbal communication, eye contact patterns, and finally to direct physical testing. Each sign builds on the previous one. She's unlikely to give you sign number 7 without having shown you signs number 1 through number 6 first. It's a natural progression that allows her to gauge your interest level and confidence at each stage. The beauty of understanding this progression is that you can calibrate your response accordingly. If you're seeing signs number 1 and number 2, you know she's interested, but testing the waters. If you're seeing signs number 5 and number 6, she's ready for you to make a move. Here's the thing. Women are rarely going to say, make a move outright. Instead, they use these subtle, subconscious cues to communicate desire while protecting themselves from rejection. This isn't manipulation or games. It's evolutionary psychology. For thousands of years, women have had to be selective and careful about romantic partnerships, and these behaviors have evolved as a way to signal interest while maintaining plausible deniability. When you can read them, the proximity, the delayed goodbye, the investment of attention, the open invitation posture, the self-touch, the triangle gaze, and the escalation test, you'll know with almost 100% certainty that she's hoping you'll take action. And when you do, you'll be shocked at how much smoother and more natural that moment feels. Instead of awkward uncertainty, there's mutual anticipation. Instead of risking rejection, you're fulfilling an expectation she's been building toward. Remember, confidence isn't about being aggressive or pushy. True confidence comes from understanding the situation and responding appropriately to the signals she's giving you. When you can read these signs accurately, you'll know exactly when the moment is right, and your move will feel natural and welcome, rather than forced or premature. If this video helped you spot the signs, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got more dark psychology and attraction science waiting for you. When you're done here, check out my other videos. The truth you'll find there will change how you see women, attraction, and human behavior forever. And remember, understanding psychology isn't about manipulation. It's about better communication, deeper connections, and creating the kind of romantic moments that both you and she will remember forever.